Mr. Smith, you have brought your estranged wife to court to prove that you are the biological father of her 4-year-old daughter, Christina Cookie Smith. You signed the birth certificate and have been daddy since she was born and claim you know you are her father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Smith, you admit that you allowed your husband to sign the birth certificate and initially believed he was Cookie's father, but as your daughter got older, she no longer looked like him. And now you believe another man is her dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, take us back to the beginning of your relationship with Mrs. Smith.
In the beginning, we actually met in middle school. We went out through, like, I want to say 7th, 8th grade. And then we reconnected after high school.
All right, and you dated, fell in love?
Right, we actually got married.
Okay.
We actually ended up getting new phones around that time.
Okay.
So it's just like the other phones were kind of lingering around. So I'm just casually just going through them. And, you know, I saw text messages, some photos between my wife and some other cat.
What did you see? What was the exchange?
Well, it was like you know, I miss you. You know, when you miss a person, you know, apparently you've seen them before. You know, nude photos.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And
nude photos of your wife or of the man?
Excuse me, Your Honor. I've
both.
never seen any of these alleged text messages that he's talking about.
Well, did you send them? I mean, even if you haven't seen them, did you send them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, then he's seen them. So what happened, Mr. Smith, when you see these text messages with nude photos and I miss you?
I basically, you know, I let my parents know what was going on, and I packed up and I left. I had to.
So you then called your family member, your mother.
Right. Just to, you know, because she's my support. You know, she helps me on everything. You know what I mean? Everything. And that's just out of natural, you know, just natural affection for
you
my
were
mom.
upset.
Yeah, I had to go to my mama. I had to. So she talked me through it, and she actually, you know, helped me get through a lot.
So at some point, Miss Smith, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. When I found out I was pregnant, we were very excited. I told Christian we weren't together. And I thought that this could be a chance for us to reconnect and make our marriage work. And he agreed, and shortly after, we got back together.
And so you found out you were pregnant, you told Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, when you found out she was pregnant, were you happy about it?
Extremely happy.
You were extremely happy.
Extremely happy.
And she said she hoped that this would help rekindle your relationship, did it?
I didn't know what love was until I met this person.
Right.
So then, and I'm having a baby with this person as well. You can't ask for more. I already got everything I need.
So, were you there at the hospital when she was born?
I mean, priority number one.
Okay.
Hey, sure, but it was a cesarean section birth. So what I made sure was, since I couldn't cut the cord, I asked the doctor, you know, can I lean over, can I see, you know, because you can only see that one time, you know, it can only happen one time. So now, you know, when Cookie is 18, 21, 40, I can tell her
that you
know,
saw.
I saw you come into this earth, you know what I mean? The first time you just came out in there.
I understand. And so you were there?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were happy?
Ecstatic.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. And she has your last name?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, Mr. Smith, at what point do you start having paternity doubts about Christina?
So I'm in the shower one day. I believe Khalita's at work, Cookie's out there. I'm watching her, and I just noticed something just that doesn't need to be there. You know, I didn't put it there. I know everything that goes on in my house, so it's just a CD that I see that's out of place. I'm like, I didn't put this in here. So the number that was on the CD, you know how people can pass out CDs?
Yes, their contact information.
Right, that number, it's just something about that number. I ain't forget about that number. And then I saw an Instagram name. So I immediately I look up their Instagram. So I'm scrolling, man, I see somebody holding my daughter.
Whoa.
With a,
what?
You know, with a cheese, you know, one of these, you know, with a cheese on their face, like it's all happy and everything.
So does it have a caption?
It did have a caption, but I not for word verbatim, but it was something in the line of him claiming her, though. It was that.
So this photo, you actually submitted in your court papers. This is the photo you saw on Instagram?
Honestly, though, I don't want to, I don't like looking at that. I don't like looking at that at all.
You can't even look at it?
Nah.
Who is this man?
Well, Your Honor, his name is Joseph. I actually met Joseph after we separated. And around the time, I was very vulnerable. And he was the only one showing me any type of attention or any love, which I needed because I felt lonely around the time because my husband left me alone. So, yeah.
You had sex with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you use protection?
No, ma'am.
Did you tell him you were married?
No, I did not.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So Cookie is now 4 years old, and you believe that she is this man's biological child,
Yes, Your Honor.
not your husband.
No.
But for the first 2 years, you allowed your husband to believe that she was his without ever saying, while we were separated, I had sex with another guy, unprotected. When I got pregnant, there's a question.
Yes, ma'am, because I didn't feel like it was any need to bring it up to him because when me and Joseph hooked up, we were separated. So I didn't tell my husband about it.
But at the point you find out you're pregnant, shouldn't you at least put these cards on the table?
Yeah,
Because he's bonding with this child for 2 years.
correct.
Especially
And you
after
knew
I
the whole,
asked you.
did you know
I
the
did.
whole time that there was a possibility that this other gentleman could be her biological father the entire time?
At first, I had no doubt in my mind that Christian, wasn't the father of my child. But as Christina got older and her features started changing, that's when I, had some doubts about it.
But now your husband has formed a bond with this beautiful little girl. He's on her birth certificate.
Right.
He's raised her. And you never stop to say, I better say something?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, she's so cute. So if he has a caption saying, this is my child, you had told this other man that the child was his?
Yes.
Yeah, before me, right? Before me. Like I don't mean anything. Just this random person gets the best information in the world, and you feel like you can't tell me the one thing that I actually need to hear for my sanity.
I think we need to hear from that other man, and he is here. Jerome, please escort Mr. Joseph Prater into the courtroom.
That's tough. That's tough.
We're going to have you go right up to the witness stand right next to the judge.
Mr. Prater, how did you meet Miss Smith?
I seen her walking down the sidewalk, and I actually ran behind her, and we exchanged numbers. We talked on the phone for a little bit, not too much in depth, but we talked for a little bit, and then maybe a couple days after that, we met up.
Did she tell you she was married?
No, ma'am, I had no clue.
So when did you find out about the baby?
I don't know a time verbatim, but the first time that I've seen Cookie in person was she was 2 years old.
Did you ever find out she was pregnant at all 2 years before?
You know what, I don't even remember verbatim, I don't.
So tell me about the first time you met Cookie.
I was in downtown. We met in a public place, and I saw her walking, and she was in a stroller, and she just looked up at me with like a mischievous, like one of those type things, and I was like, yo, you know me from somewhere? Like, that's when I felt like it might have been my daughter.
You did?
Yeah, there was something there, like she knew me already.
And so when you met her, did Miss Smith say to you, this is your child?
I ain't gonna lie, when I seen her, she looks just like my dad. She looks just like us, so, I never really doubted it, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I always thought that, yo, this is my child.
And so while all this is happening, at 2 years old, You find out, you accept it, you've got this little girl. Do you make plans to stay in her life and to be a part of her life and to take care of her?
Yes, ma'am, I did, but at the same time, I wasn't in a position to be a structure of a good parent or anything at all.
So you're saying that you did not start providing support for the child?
I mean, I would see her, and we would like,
So
spend
you
time,
would see her and
but
you
as
would
far
spend
as-
time with her?
Yes, ma'am, but as far as
How many
financial-
times did you see her and spend time with her? She's 4 now. After you met her when she was 2, did you see her more than one occasion?
Oh, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am,
And you'd always refer to yourself as daddy?
yes, ma'am.
And all this time, Mr. Smith, you're also spending time with her?
Of course.
And having absolutely no idea this entire encounter occurred, still referring to yourself as daddy as well. Miss Smith, what kind of web you weaving?
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you time to think on it. I'm gonna hear from your mother. Please stand. Ma'am, step over to the podium. State your name for the record, ma'am.
My name is Tony Brooks.
And you are Mr. Smith's mother.
I am, Your Honor.
Your son has already said that when he first, had issues in his marriage, he ended up moving out. They ended up getting back together. They had this beautiful baby. This baby, I'm sure if your son thinks it's his daughter, that's in your heart and mind your grandchild.
It is my grandchild. It is. I love her. She's been there. When they broke up, I've never thought they should have been together in the first place. I always feel like their relationship is just toxic. It doesn't work.
At what point do you even find out about Mr. Prater?
I kept asking him, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's it? He wouldn't tell me. And he finally was like, look, I got to show you something. And he pulls up the Instagram and just puts it out there. He was like, see, I guess you were right, Ma. And I didn't want it to be a point of me being right. That's not the point. The truth just needs to be out.
But with that said, the truth is that you obviously didn't know that from that 2-year point, Mr. Prater is still in contact and seeing Cookie as her father, and your son is still functioning like Cookie's father. And Miss Smith, even though you opened up and told Miss Brooks the truth, you still were allowing Mr. Prater to see her behind your husband's back.
Until till just now. I didn't even know any of that.
And Mr. Prater, you did not know about Mr. Smith.
Ma'am.
So, Miss Smith, why?
I just couldn't find the right time to say anything about it.
When you have issues like this, the right time is the soonest time available. Because that means the child would have clarity. Your child. And so as we stand here today, what are your hopes in this moment? I assume, Mr. Smith, you hope that you are her biological father?
Definitely, without a doubt. I can't really ask for anything more, honestly. I would love that.
And Mr. Prater, I assume since you are attached to her and believe you're her biological father, you also hope you are her biological father.
I do hope she's my daughter. Like, at the end of the day, I do want to apologize to bruh and say that I feel like at the same time, if I am the father, she's just going to have 2 because he's been there for 2 years, 4 years. And, at the end of the day, I'd be wrong to come to snatch them.
Ms. Smith, what do you hope for?
I'm just hoping that we could all work together for Christina. Because at the end of the day, it's about her.
And I'm ready to get the results for her. Jerome, I'll take the envelope, please.
You go, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Smith versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Smith or Mr. Prater is the biological father of 4-year-old Christina Smith, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Prater. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I know that was not the news you wanted.
That's tough,
Oh, I know.
but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. It's my baby. It's my baby.
But we have to be honest, it's his baby too. And he is the biological father, and you are the legal father, which means this web is still continuing. It's complex. Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court, and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children, you now have doubts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bodine, you claim that you are certain the plaintiff is Robin and Jermaine Jr.'s father and have evidence to support your claim. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Benning, tell me about your relationship with your daughter, Robin, and how these paternity doubts are affecting you.
Well, first off, Your Honor, my mother passed away when I was 14 years old. She was my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. And after she died, it, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her and treat her like my mother took care of me.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
I've always stuck by with that.
So having a daughter has been so important to you.
So important. I waited for this.
And tell me about that relationship.
We are so close. She's goofy. She loves daddy. She's a daddy's baby. We love to play, chase each other around. Goldfish is our snack. We love goldfish.
It's our snack. I love how you said that. And what else?
I've just always been there. Always been there. No matter what Robin needed, I'm always there for her.
And so tell me about the day you first found out she was pregnant.
Well, when she first came home and told me she was pregnant, I was excited, especially once we found out that it was a girl. That's something that I've always wanted. That hyped me up. I couldn't ask for anything else than that. That's my world.
So, Ms. Bodine, Mr. Benning says he was so excited when you told him you were pregnant. At that time, did you know there could be any other possibility?
No, Your Honor. I admit I did cheat. But for certain, he's the father. We was together while I got pregnant with Robin, and I know for certain he's the father.
It actually happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla as she was pushing this baby out, and I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
What?
I am in labor, literally in the hospital, and I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
And so you get the text and you know who it's from.
Yes.
What do? You can't say anything to Ms. Bodine while she's in labor, can you?
I just kept going and I signed her birth certificate.
So you just kept going through the entire experience?
I pushed through it. I wanted my daughter and I wasn't letting anybody take her from me.
So even though you had the doubts, you had to know, you had to feel the doubt at that time.
Yes, it started to sink in, but I thought through it.
But you were just too excited and you said, I'm not gonna let anybody steal my joy today.
Right.
So, Ms. Bodine, this other man sent a text to Mr. Benning while he's by your side at the hospital. How do you know this other guy is not the biological father?
Because, Your Honor, I stood up and did the woman and the mother thing I had to do and got the other guy tested.
Oh, so you had a DNA test on the other guy already?
Yes, and he wasn't the father.
And you submitted those results to the court?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
All right. The results read that the probability of paternity between you and this other guy is 0%.
Yes.
So he was not the father.
No, he wasn't, because Jermaine's the father.
All right. So, Mr. Benning, you still build the relationship, but you still have a doubt?
Yes, quite a few. First off, the DNA test doesn't mean anything considering the fact that she's cheated on me with more than one person.
Oh.
There could be other guys out there. That's just one,
Now, that's the plot twist.
As well as, Your Honor, anytime that something is wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father. As soon as we start to argue, you're not her father. But if you need something, I'm the father.
You say stuff to hurt my feelings. Why can't
Have I
I do
ever
it
told
to
you that you're not the parent of your kid?
You can't. I pushed him out.
Okay. So you're just gonna stab me in the back and tell me that I'm not the father of the kid that I take care of?
This is why we're here today, to prove it.
Let's prove it then.
Okay, let's prove it then. She looks just like your mom.
Mr. Benning, I do want you to explain to Miss Bodine, because I feel like, Miss Bodine, to say someone is not the father of a child, now that's a little below the belt.
That's not just hurting somebody's feelings,
Yeah.
it's ruining somebody's life.
And I want you to tell her what that feels like so she can understand. What does that feel like when she says that to you, Mr. Benning?
That little girl right there is my mother come back to be with me.
And
when
she
you
looks
tell me
just like your
when you tell me
mother.
she's
She's
not
her
mine, it feels like you're taking my mother away from me again.
Look at them. Look. They're twins.
She's beautiful.
They are.
They do look a lot alike.
So, Mr. Benning, explain what the doubt feels like, having to live with it every day.
Yeah, I had to change her diaper and look at her and play with her, and she's calling me daddy, and there's something in the back of my head saying she might not be. You know, there's a text message on my phone saying she's not yours. There's people calling me on my phone saying I'm her dad. You know, it's constant. It's just constant, and
Well, this is why we're here to prove it.
after a certain time, you can't just ignore it anymore. It just keeps happening. It's hard to ignore. Very hard.
Why are all these people calling Mr. Benning saying the child isn't his?
I don't know. I cannot control what other people say. I know what I'm saying, and I know what I proved. So you have your doubt or not. I'm here to prove today that you're the father.
Because you are just 100% certain.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Bodine says she is 100% certain. That doesn't make your doubt subside?
I don't trust the thing that really comes out of her mouth. I really don't. And to be honest with you, after all this has happened, you know, depending on the doubts with Robin, I wouldn't know about my son as well.
I think it's important that we get this family some clarity.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think we need to first go to Robin's results. Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. You are shaking.
I know.
I feel your nervousness from here. Are you okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm perfect.
Okay.
I just want to get it out there. I want to know the truth. She deserves it. She deserves everything.
In the case of Benning versus Bodine, when it comes to 23-month-old Robin Benning, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Benning, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna be there. I'm lonely when she calls daddy. You can't change it. We spent 2 years together. You can't change that. You can't take that away.
You said earlier that if Robin was not your biological child, it causes you to doubt whether or not you truly are the biological father of Jermaine Benning Jr. And because of that doubt, the court wants to make sure when you leave here, you have the whole truth.
I think I deserve at least that, Your Honor.
Can you describe some of the circumstances that lead you to doubt baby Jermaine Is there anything else in addition to the fact that we've now learned that Robin is not your biological daughter?
On top of that, the same thing with the, texting me, telling me I'm not the father. I even received a text telling me after he was born, which I still went through the whole labor, everything. After that, after all that, I get a text telling me, oh, I want a paternity test for Jermaine too. Like, why would you say that if
And
that's
that
my
was
junior?
submitted to the court.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
There was a text to you, Mr. Benning, that says, I'm filing papers for a DNA test on Jermaine. That'll cause paternity doubt
Indeed.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, Your Honor, sure does. Every day.
You sent that text, Ms. Bodine?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Did you send it for good reason, or were you just being vindictive and mean?
Vindictive and mean, trying to hurt your feelings. We had gotten to an argument, and he said stuff. May or may not been true.
No,
well,
they're not arguments. These are not arguments that these texts come from. These are, Jermaine, can you come over and hang out? I don't want to. Well, fine, they're not your kids anyway.
So, Mr. Benning, I want to ask, were you there for Jermaine Jr.'s birth?
Yes, I was in the hospital while
Did
he
you
was
sign
born.
that birth
I
certificate too?
did sign his birth certificate. He has
And
my
that's
first name
been
and
submitted
he's a
to the
junior.
court? Jermaine Truth Benning Jr., your concern is that the truth is
That he's
you
not
are
mine.
not his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've stepped up for these kids. I mean, you have gone above and beyond. And now you love Jermaine. This is your namesake.
That's my little man.
So, Ms. Bodine, you admitted there were some doubts with Robin,
Yes.
even though you felt in your heart Mr. Benning was the father. But
Sure.
for Jermaine Jr., you say you are certain.
Certain. There's no doubt in my mind or my heart that he's not his.
So what are your hopes for today?
That he's his, and that either way, because Robin's not his and we found that out, either way that he's still in part of her life because she's 2. That's your decision if you don't want to be there. But I don't want to go home and tell my 2-year-old daughter that her father is not going to be there no more. They're attached. She cries when he walks out the room. I cannot break her heart like that. I can't, and I won't. I'm not the type of person.
Well, that one last statement. Just stop it. I won't break her heart like that. We're going to work on you not being that type of person, right?
Right.
All right. Mr. Benning, what are your hopes?
I hope Jermaine's mine. I really do. It'd be good to know at least one of my kids is mine. Yeah. I'm looking forward to spending all the time I can with him.
All right. Well, let's get these results. Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Benning versus Bodine, when it comes to 6-month-old Jermaine Benning Jr., it has been determined by this court. Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
What the?
Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Benning.
I got cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do, and
Ms. Bodine, do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor. I didn't know that was going to come out like that.
Well, you may not have known, but if it's not Mr. Benning, and it's not, Do you know, keep track of, have an understanding, recollection, memory of the other people you were sleeping with during that time? Because you said
We
no?
were together during that time.
You said you don't have that? You don't know?
No, Your Honor.
I'm asking this as respectfully as I can. When you say you don't know, like, you don't remember sleeping with people, or is it just that there were so many you can't remember? Or what is it? Because at this point, I hope you go and find the biological fathers for your children, because the same way Mr. Benning gets those texts and all those people in his ear, that's how they do the kids. Sometimes people can be very cruel. And the next thing somebody want to come drop a dime that you know, Jermaine ain't your daddy. I don't know why people can be so cruel, but we hear it over and over again. And you never want that to come to your child that way when you could have told them. You too could have told them, all right?